Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode. My name is Ixchel,
And my name is Lucero.
and you're tuning in to another episode of the Bitch Up podcast.
Wow.
Hi.
Welcome back. How are
How
we
y'all
doing today?
doing? We
We're
are
doing.
alive. We're alive.
We're
And
alive and blessed to be. That's
yeah,
all
you
we
know
can
what?
say.
I'll be
Just kidding.
optimistic.
And if you guys have noticed, we've kind of shifted our layout this week
Yes.
because somebody is sick.
Yeah, I
And
have
so,
cooties, so Lucy wouldn't
yeah,
let me into our
she couldn't.
recording space.
I was like, stay away from me, you cootie freak. So
No,
the layout's a little
literally.
different. But honestly, the layout's been different like almost every week. So
We're
who
trying
knows?
new things, you
Maybe,
guys.
yeah, maybe this will be our new norm. You never know.
Yeah, maybe next week we'll join you guys from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the beach
Yeah.
in a
From the
cave. No, just
desert.
kidding.
From the desert. I'm kidding. No,
Hint,
but I did,
hint.
right? No, but I really did have to stay away from Lucy because I couldn't expose her or anybody around her with whatever
Yeah.
I have going on. Because it's no bueno. We have a lot of things going on, and it's already enough that one of us is down. Not two of us have
No,
to be down
we
bad.
can't all be down.
Exactly. So yeah.
So do we have any bitch up moments this week or any recommendations?
Well, I was telling you earlier, I feel like my budget moment this week is that I have been powering through whatever has been trying to keep me down. And I will say, I think I played myself because I had been around a lot of sick people, not like at the same time, but like, I've been around and I
I've
was
been
just like,
around.
and I was just like, I'm untouchable. Like she is a ninja. Like she's fine. I actually haven't been sick for a really long time. I didn't even get like any like bad colds or flus during the winter season. And
Mhm.
I was just like, she is healthy. And lo and behold, life was like you thought.
You need to
So
calm down. You need to
yeah,
be
no, I was
humbled.
really humbled. Yeah, exactly. I was humbled. So I got sick this past week, and my bitch moment was that I worked every goddamn day this past week, and I showed up. I showed up to work and did what I had to be done. So that was my bitch moment. And then for my recommendation this week, I would love to recommend people to watch reality TV, and hopefully you guys are tuning in
Again.
to no, not I'm not talking about Summer House this time. I hope you guys are tuning into the new season of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Yeah,
Mm.
just watch the new episode
Not
now.
the what is this all on Bravo? Like is this
Yes.
network like Summer House and you know what? At
Yes.
this point, sponsor us.
You guys, this is now become a Bravo podcast. I'm just kidding. That's my
We're just going
side
to be
hustle.
talking about all the reality TV shows and doing like a little summary of what happened in the last
Summary,
episode.
hot takes, talking
Mm.
shit. See, I would love to do that. That would be amazing, but I never really had anyone to talk to about it.
Only
But
have
it's
for
okay because
you.
no, it's okay because there's so many like other people doing that. So obviously it's like, no, I don't need to do that. Anyway,
Mm.
that's my recommendation.
Nice. Well, my bitch up moment is so I was invited as a plus one to go to this event. If you guys don't know or haven't tuned in or new listeners and watchers, we have a friend. His name is Joseph, and he is a hairstylist of the stars. He's famous, darling. And he did hair
Yeah,
for
he's
this
our
girl.
famous friend.
Yeah. Her name is Ava LeRae, and she's an artist. I want to say she's upcoming, but I mean, who am I to say that? But you know what? She is upcoming. Let's manifest something for her.
Yeah,
And he did the
I think
hair for
she's new to the
her.
space, right? Or to the industry, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, she's put out music since I believe like 2022. And according to the little synopsis she gave us, is that she went through a really, really bad breakup that was like so devastating. And that she was like, this is it. This is my time. It's up. I'm out, no longer going to be a part of this world because that's how heartbreaking it
Wow.
was. And it kind of fueled a lot of her artistry and her music. So that's how kind of everything started for her. And now she's here and she released a new song called Bet. And that's why we were at the event. And the reason I think it's a bitch up moment, and also slash a recommendation, if you guys are looking to listen to new
I
artist,
was about
Ava
to ask,
LeRae,
was it good?
AVALA, what is it? Apostrophe RAE. You can find her on Spotify. I would say it was a bitch up moment for me because I don't think I've really been I'm never used to those kind of events, to be quite honest. I know that it was a lot of her friends and a lot of people that she's worked with that are like musicians themselves or videographers or
Mhm.
somewhere in the industry, right? So there definitely was a lot of kikiing and networking in some ways.
Yeah.
So I always find those events like very interesting because it's like you people watch basically. You just and
Yeah.
obviously some of these people know each other, and then you get to talking to some people, and they're like, "Oh no, I just met so and so today. I don't know anything about them, or I just met them today because of this event." So it's always very interesting to see how people network and whatnot. And I kind of find it a little bit not intimidating, but just more so like looking from the outside in, I guess you can say, because I'm
Feel like
not a
an
part of the
outsider?
industry. Not like an outsider. Again, it was just more so like I don't really have anything to offer. I don't bring anything to the table as far as like services like that, right? But it's
Oh,
interesting to like,
but you're
you
a
know,
person, and as a person, you have a lot to offer.
well, yeah, obviously, but that's why
Sell
I'm saying it's
yourself. No, I'm just
it's not
kidding.
intimidating in that aspect. I could see some people find those type of events intimidating because you do have to
Yeah.
network and kind of sell yourself. Where I didn't find it that way, but I think it was just interesting, or maybe a little bit out of my comfort zone to be an event like that. I think the last
Yeah.
event that I really attended that was something similar was when I went to the master class for Scott Barnes, and I obviously
Mm.
did it for fun, right? But a
Yeah.
lot of these people were like looking to become an
Makeup
artist or
artist.
makeup
Yeah.
artist and get their big break or make connections with people that potentially could open doors for them. So that was also an interesting perspective, and it was like, oh, I do feel a little bit out of like a fish out of water here, because this is not, I'm
Oh,
just
okay.
here to learn vibes, right?
You're
But
like,
yeah,
I'm just here
that's
for the vibes. I'm
yeah,
here
I'm
as a
just here
plus
for moral
one.
support. I'm
I'm
just here
here for
to
the drinks. I'm just
yeah.
kidding.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun meeting people. I met a lot of interesting people.
Mm.
And yeah, again, thanks, Joy, for inviting me. And it was fun. And maybe we'll have more events to attend together, including you, Ikshal, obviously, because you were sick. So you missed
Yeah,
out on this one, but maybe there'll be more
it's
events that we
fine.
have to go sell ourselves to.
LOL. But I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I'm glad it was one of those things like you said that it was a bitch up experience in its own, because you were in a new space, you're around new people you didn't know, and I mean the LA scene can be pretty intimidating for anybody,
Mhm.
But I mean, I'm glad you had a safety blanket because you were there with Joey, and he.
No, I totally get why now. He was like, I need you guys to come because yeah,
It's a
it was
lot.
like it is a lot. And I was like, oh yeah, I would 100% definitely
I can
ask my
imagine.
friends to
I'm over here
go.
getting about to talk shit. I was like, there's probably a lot of, what is it called? Energy vampires there.
Maybe, maybe, who knows? I
But
mean, it was fun for what it was. Ava was really, really nice. She's so sweet. A lot of the people that I met, funny enough, met through this other girl named Stella who apparently didn't go because her surrogate gave birth. So everything, a lot of
oh,
people that were invited there by her were like, yeah, Stella didn't end up showing up because of the whole pregnancy situation and labor. I'm like, well, that's so funny. Now I need to meet the Stella person because it seems that she
yeah.
was
It's like
the,
the anchor with
yeah,
everybody
for a
that
lot
was
of
there.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny. It was like a
Oh,
little running joke at one point.
well,
But
that's
yeah,
cool. I'm glad you had fun though. I'm glad you guys
but
had
yeah,
fun overall.
go check out Ava Leray, you guys. Bet it's a good song.
That's a good one. It's a bitch up and a recommendation all in one.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was my bitch up. And speaking of artists, I think that for
And breakups.
today's
I'm just kidding.
literally and heartbreaks and betrayals,
And
um,
all the things in between.
we are going to basically be discussing the Becky G interview that she did on Call Her Daddy, right? Call Her
Yes.
Daddy.
Yes.
Because apparently a lot of people are going
Have
off
thoughts.
on the web, have thoughts,
Yeah.
have hot takes. And you know
A lot
what?
of
It
people are
just
pressed. A lot of people
yeah,
are
it came across our
projecting.
desk and we're like, why not? Let's discuss. Because we watched a little bit, but I think we were only
Yeah.
watching it because we were busy doing other things and it was kind of in the
It was
background.
background. It was
Yeah, and we
background
weren't really
noise.
paying
Yeah.
attention, but we're like, oh, whatever. So, and then once I guess
It
our
got across.
phone heard
Yeah.
us talking about it or listening to it, so I started getting a lot of clips about people reacting and
Hmm.
giving their 2 cents about it. So I was like, you
Right.
know what? Let's give our 2 cents.
Right. Yeah.
So
Actually, here's my 50 cents. No, I'm just kidding.
well, first of all, I think we could put our biases on the table. Like, how do we feel about Becky G in general? Is this
Mhm.
like an artist that we follow? Do we like her?
You know what? She is a tequila girl, and for that, she's my girl. I fuck with her. I'm her, she's me. No, I'm just kidding. Um,
You're like Shelly D.
right? No, funny thing about Becky G, I feel like I really hadn't gravitated towards her as an artist up
Mhm.
until like maybe more recent years, I would say.
Mhm.
I did know about her hits, like what was it, like her pajama song.
Yeah.
I remember Mayores. Mayores was a bop. And so like I knew of her and I, like her stuff was fun and whatnot. And what was that other song? One of her first radio hits.
Like in
Oh,
Spanish or
no, it
in
was
the
like it was in
American
English. The one that's like you let me
shower?
showers. Is that one? Is that what it was called?
Singing in the shower.
Oh shit.
Da-da-dee,
Okay.
da-da. Is it that
Wow. Yeah,
one?
no, no, it's that one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, see that one. But I didn't know that was Becky G until after the fact, until I started until I started seeing her more on like the reggaeton side, and then I
Mhm.
like got exposed to her other stuff, and I was like, oh, that was her. But anyway, yeah, I think I didn't come more like into her until like she collabed with Carol G on the
Mhm.
MAMIII. Like I really enjoyed her in that collaboration. And
Yeah.
then I did enjoy her album that she took out recently where she kind of delved a little bit more in like Spanish or like Mexican and kind of more like regional Mexican kind of music, if you will. When she
Yeah.
dabbled in that. But yeah, that was kind of like my exposure to her. I honestly didn't know much about her until I actually saw her documentary a while ago when it came out, and I was like, oh, okay, like she's just like us, Like I kind of
She's just a
felt
girl.
no, like literally, she's just a girl. She's just a little Latina girl that grew up in the South Bay, and so in that regard, I kind of related to her in a little bit, and I was just like, wow, I didn't know all these things about her. Like I didn't know how I guess grounded she was in that way. But
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, that has been my exposure with her. I'm not a diehard fan, but like as a person and as like an artist, I'm like, oh, she's cool.
Yeah.
Then I knew about her little drama with her vato, but I didn't really know who that guy was. So
I don't know who this man is.
I
Sorry
didn't
to
know who
this
that man
man.
is, but he didn't look like shit, honestly. And as I've
No,
watched
yeah.
more footages between them and interactions between them, like I think she's better than that. But yeah,
Got it. Yeah,
yeah.
I would say I didn't really follow Becky G either when she first started out in the US for say. I did know of her.
Mhm.
I personally didn't like her shower song, but that's just
It's
because it wasn't my
catchy.
vibe. It is
Yeah.
catchy, yeah. I think I started probably paying attention to her more when she dabbed into the Latino um, industry and came out with like Sola. And I think it
Mm.
was around 2014 ish. I don't quote me on that. I forget when it was, but I think that's when I started following her career a little bit more. Obviously, Sin Pijama was like a big hit for her. And
Mhm.
then Mayores was like a big hit for her. I think Becky, I also agree. I I don't how can I put this? I think that Becky G is a very underrated artist. I think that she has a tendency or for whatever reason, she's always around when big artists get their come up. I think that she's not that she's responsible for their success, but more so she's been very supportive of other artists and kind of has been one of the people that's around when they do get introduced to the industry. I think Bad Bunny is like one of those. Like I didn't know of Bad
Yeah.
Bunny until he collabed with Becky G. Same thing
Mhm.
with like Nati Natasha. And I think that's how I kind of came to know Karol G a little bit too, because
Mhm.
of the whole Sin Pijama situation of her
Yeah.
not why she wasn't a part of the song when she was invited. So for that reason, I do have respect for Becky because I do think that she is a hard worker and she gets overlooked sometimes in the industry and for the music she puts out. But yeah, and then I did know a little bit of what was going on with her man's. I think I forget when I learned of him. I think it was around the Power Rangers promotion when she was doing Power Rangers. And I was like, okay, good for you, girl. I mean, he seems handsome. I never really saw any of their interactions until more recently. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay,
I'm just like, hold up. He's a soccer player? Next. next.
Whoa. Oh, it's because Eggshell,
Well,
for
he's
those
an
of you who don't
athlete.
know, what do you mean? Oh, I don't know. I feel
Wait,
like
wait,
funny
wait, wait.
enough,
What were you about to say? For those of
I
you
thought
who
it was
don't know,
I thought it was gonna be like, oh, it's because if you guys don't know Eggshell, she loves her men tall, and I think soccer players have a
that's
tendency to
hilarious.
not be
That's where
very
you were
tall.
gonna go with that.
Yeah, that's where I was
No.
gonna go.
First of all, there's a lot of tall, good-looking soccer players. Like,
Well,
I'm not hating
yeah.
on soccer players. I'm hating on, or not even hating, it's a known fact that if they're an athlete, they're more likely to
But are
be
soccer
prone to
players
being
known for that
unfaithful.
though?
Yes. Are you
Really?
kidding?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't know that soccer, like a lot of soccer players had that stigma. I know like a lot of basketball players and a lot of like
No, like
American football
athletes,
players.
here's the thing, athletes, period. Athletes,
Oh, okay.
period. That was,
Tennis players and
and that's
pickleball players. We're
and
looking
that's
at you
where
too.
and yeah, and that's where I was
Golf. Oh
coming
wait,
at.
I can't golf. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah,
Tiger
and that's where I
Woods.
was and that's where I was coming up. I know I said soccer player, but I'm like soccer player as in like ergo he's an athlete. So yeah,
Mm.
that's where that
Yeah,
was.
but like he wasn't like, I mean, no shade to the man. I respect the
He's not
hustle.
that big. I'm just
I think
kidding.
it's hard as a football player to even make it to a team professionally. So
Right.
when people are like, "Oh, he's not even that big," I'm like, "Bro, it's hard out here as a futbolista to get on a professional team like that." You know, people work their whole lives to even get on a professional team. So
Yeah,
that's
I
why I'm
mean,
like, I'm not gonna shit on him like that because I'm like, I know it's hard work. So.
yeah, I mean, anybody that accomplishes playing professional in any sport, that's a huge
Mhm.
accomplishment. The amount of discipline and the dedication, so we're not knocking him for his talent. We're just there's a
Yeah,
correlation between being an athlete and your proneness to being
and I'm
unfaithful.
faithful.
And that's what I was focusing on. Um, but yeah.
Well, I guess also just going back into the interview. So, how did we feel about that interview overall?
It's interesting because I will say that as I've known Becky through her music more than anything, like I never followed her in like her YouTube channel or like any social media presence that she had in terms of
Mhm.
Instagram, YouTube channel or whatever, because I think that's how she kind of got like not I don't want to say discovered, but like I guess that's how she was put on. She would do covers on YouTube
YouTube,
and
yeah.
stuff. And she would kind of post a lot of content about like herself and things like that. I've learned recently. I never really followed her like that, so I didn't really know about her
I didn't
persona,
know
what
she
she's
had
like.
yeah, I didn't know she was on YouTube like that because I think that's how Justin Bieber got discovered. That's how Hallie and Chloe got discovered. Also, they were on YouTube doing covers. Like a lot of people got discovered that way. I think Shawn Mendes was on,
I
oh my
mean,
God.
wasn't Tate McRae too? Like she
Yeah, I think
also was on
so. Well,
YouTube
she
and
was on
stuff.
kind of TikTok a little bit. I think that's when she got
Oh, because
discovered was TikTok.
yeah. Oh, because it was
Shawn,
during COVID and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, so I didn't really know her from that presence. So I didn't really know about like what she was like outside of her music. So again, when I saw her documentary, I kind of got an impression of who she is as a person or at least how she presents herself, right? And I found
Mhm.
her to be like very bubbly, very like kind of like down to earth, but also just being very like optimistic and always just very I just saw that she was like, oh, she's just like this little ball of sunshine. And at
Yeah.
some point, and this is just me and it's probably me projecting, but sometimes I'm just like it's a bit much, sometimes it's a bit much. But then as the documentary like wore on and I learned more about her and whatever, I was just like, oh no, like this is who she is, like, and it was I found her to be like cute and whatnot, and I was just like,
And this is
okay.
the her Rebecca
Or Rebecca,
documentary?
yeah, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, because like I said before that, I didn't really have a really big notion of like what she's like as a person outside of like her
Her music.
like
Yeah.
music, if you will. Like, whereas her music, she's out here being like she a baddie. She's over here like fucking with older men, and like with mommy, she's like I don't get played or whatever. Like kind of f you if you do me wrong and stuff like that. So it was interesting
Mhm.
to then just find her person because she seemed very like bubbly, very sweet, very nice, and also very like strong because of everything that she ever went all the things that she's gone through in her life story, and for her
Mhm.
to still have this level of like lightness to her and just being optimistic and just like always looking for the good in things and just trying
Yeah.
to do right and do good by her family. And so I admired that about her, if you will. Yeah.
I didn't watch her documentary, but it looked good. I haven't come across any clips though, but I probably now will have to sit down and watch it. But I guess just watching the interview, and it's interesting too because I also didn't expect her to be so bubbly. Again, knowing her through her music and some of the interviews, does seem very grounded when it comes to her interviews, and then she
Yeah.
does shed light to her personality where it is bubbly. But I will say, when I was watching the interview, I was trying to be as open minded as I could be because of some of the background that I knew about her and some of the stuff that she had said about, her upbringing and her being a caregiver since a very young age, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, like a lot of the decisions that she's made when it comes to her career, or just, I guess now, her private relationship, makes sense coming from that aspect. And so when people were reacting to all of these clips or the interview in general and kind of shitting on her for it,
Mhm.
I felt bad.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were projecting
Yes.
their
Yeah.
situations on her. I think, and the fact that they were like, do not take her advice, do not follow in her footsteps, do not get
Yeah.
back with a cheater. And I'm like, sure, all of those thoughts are valid, but I'm like, there is nuance to a lot of situations, and you have to take that in mind.
Yeah.
Obviously, if someone's going through a very rough time where the person is really, really toxic and is violent, and you're going through all of these things, of course you don't want to go back to an ex.
Right.
However,
And you shouldn't. Yeah.
everybody's relationship is different. I do remember that when the whole cheating scandal came out, there was people who were coming out and saying that this was nothing new, that he has been a long-term cheater and that she was very much aware of
I
what was going
remember
on.
that. Hmm.
And so I know a lot of people were criticizing her for that, and her response allegedly to the person who told her that they saw her man cheating on him, and she was like, at the end of the day, he's coming home to me and we know what's good between us.
I remember this.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I'm like, that's interesting. I was like, okay, girl, it is your relationship, and I do think that at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, like if she wants to do, she's gonna do what she wants to do, right? And like, who
Yeah.
are we as the public to tell her you shouldn't do that? It's her life, you know what I mean? It's like at
Yeah.
the end of the day, we're not in the relationship with them, we're not in the bed with them, so it's like, who are we to like yuck her yum?
Honestly, it's one of those things that for me, I was just like, here's the thing. Everybody that's getting pressed, whatever, and like having thoughtful discussions about it. Cause I don't think it's not a good thing to discuss. Cause definitely there's a lot to
Yeah,
discuss here, right? Because there's a lot of things at play. And like you said, there's a lot of nuance and it's really not that like one thing or the other. But like my biggest takeaway from that interview was that she's exactly where she wants to be. that that is where she wants to be. Now, can we argue that, sometimes God does give you the same lesson until you really learn from it?
yeah,
Could be a thing too, right? Maybe that like she hasn't hit her rock bottom, right? Or maybe her rock bottom, I mean, I think she said it herself on the interview, her rock bottom isn't cheating. She wishes it was, but it wasn't. It isn't.
yeah.
She's seen some shit. So I don't know. But like my biggest takeaway from it was like she's exactly where she wants to be. And so
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny that you say that because I know we had that discussion recently. It's like, you will get a lesson in so many different ways, right? And it's always going to come back and test you. And it's
yeah.
not always going to come back in the same form.
No.
And it's really up to you as to what decision you decide to take when it comes to that lesson and if you've actually learned
Yeah.
anything. And so some would say, she's chosen, or yeah, she's chosen the lesson again versus the blessing. But, I guess here it would be, what is the decision she would have to make, whether it's choose to move on and let go and detach herself from that person
Hmm.
and accepting the lessons that she's learned, whatever that lesson is, or, choose the lesson again. And I guess in this aspect, she's kind of hoping that the lesson is that it'll somehow become the blessing, and that's what it seems to be, because she did say, like, I would say our relationship is a lot better than it
Better.
used to be now.
Yeah.
So I do think that she's holding out hope, like, hey, this is going to work out, we've are both working on ourselves. And I think that's something that she pointed out. I know a lot of people were shitting on her, they're like, you're the one who got cheated on, like, why are you doing the work? But
Yeah.
and
I,
it's like it's interesting, sorry, because I'm
no,
like,
go ahead.
I think people forget what it's like to be cheated on. I'm like, I know a lot of people, you know, when you get cheated on, and I think she mentioned, it's like you lose trust in yourself and in your decision making, which is true. You tend to
Yeah.
overthink everything. Did you miss any red flags? Was there
Yeah.
anything that you ignored? Was there a feeling that you second guessed yourself because you're like gaslighting yourself into like, oh no, like he would never or they would never, right?
Right.
So I think that that was a very interesting point that she made, and I think it's a very
Yeah.
valid point. And I do
Yeah.
think that sometimes people forget about that. And then she also talked about, the aspect of how society has shifted when it comes to women and the relationships that they are in, whether you leave. Before, if you left, you were judged for leaving your marriage. You're like, you got to
Yeah.
fight for your marriage, right? That's something that you got to put
You
on your
gave up.
boxing gloves and fight for it. You
Yeah.
didn't do anything to save your relationship with that. At the end of the day, it was like, but he's the one that messed up, or they're the
Yeah.
person that messed up. Why do I have to fight
At
for this?
what cost,
Yeah.
too?
And then now it's like if you're staying in this relationship, you're a dumb bitch, right? It's like I would
Yeah.
never. I will
And
say
I
when
will
she said
say
that,
I
I was
am
like,
those. That is I am she. I felt so seen when she was talking about that.
yeah,
Um,
like you would
here's what
never.
yeah, no. I mean, I still stand behind that. I will not tolerate that. What I will say, just kind of going back to where we were talking about repeating the same lessons or whatever, you can outrun your patterns, right? So it's like she could like paint a new scenario, she could do this and that, but if you haven't like really healed from those things or what have you, like those things are going to keep coming up. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's her life, it's him. They're doing this, they're making the decisions. She was sounded very insightful and very self-aware. She sounded like she's really done the work
Yeah.
on all of this, right? Because going back to just discussing betrayal and how betrayal doesn't always look the same, which is true because obviously that's very subjective usually. And then also this idea of like, what do you do after betrayal? And like then also dealing with the societal pressures of it. Like you said, I'd say like our parents' generations or our aunts' generations dealt with the whole, if shit hits the fan in your marriage, you should stay. And if you leave, you were shunned, you were looked down on, especially having coming from like a Mexican background or Catholic background where divorce is shameful. And then now our generation where we're more of like a boss bitch generation or just like this women empowerment and like rise of feminism and what have you, and really holding respect for yourself and who you are as a person, this and that, and what you tolerate and what you don't tolerate from men specifically in society. And so I see where there is this sort of stigma with you stay with women that stay, right? And women that choose to stay, and going back to the nuance, right? Women that choose to stay in relationships post betrayal, it's for a lot of different reasons. Some people stay because they don't have no other choice, in the sense of like, this person is like supporting me financially, like I feel like I can't leave him because XYZ, or because of the kid, whatever the reason is, or like them, like I'm choosing to fight, I'm choosing to like figure things out, what, how can we come back together and do things right. So yeah, there's a lot of nuance in that. And it does suck because I'm just like, damn, you're already dealing with like in yourself, like you said. One of the things I did really appreciate from that was just like, yeah, it was so real. It was a bar when she said, when you get cheated on or when you get betrayed in that way in your relationship, it doesn't just break your trust in like that person in your relationship, it's like it breaks your own trust in yourself. And that
Mhm.
what that does to you psychologically is so fucked up. And it's just like,
Yeah.
dang. Like, and so again, it seems like she's done a lot of the inner work, or is on her way of doing a lot of the inner work,
Mhm.
which I found very insightful. And I thought it was interesting that a lot of people were criticizing that, saying that she was just like, what is the word when what is it when you intellectualize your emotions, so that you like
Yeah.
you try to rationalize why everything happened, you're understanding, but it's also like a coping mechanism, so you're not actually really allowing yourself to feel it and to
Yeah,
let
they were like,
yourself
"Oh,
like
she's using a lot of therapy talk," but, like, it's
yeah.
I was just like, "Okay,"
People were
and
like,
this is
she's literally trying to justify, like she's telling everybody, right? Like justifying
Mhm.
why she did this, and making rationalizing why she did this. And
Yeah.
then everybody's kind of just like, are you trying to convince us or yourself still? You know?
See, but I don't
And I'm just
yeah,
like,
I didn't
aw.
take it that way, though. I
No, I did
honestly would
see the
yeah.
criticism from that though, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting. That's an interesting take, but yeah, I don't know. She seems to be very genuine. in her approach to things. And like I said, she seems to have done a lot of the work and like has is genuinely trying to do right by this person and wants a
Mhm.
future with this person. And she seems to be happy about it. So just like I wish her the best. I hope that it works out.
Yeah. I mean, I think in either situation, whether you decide to stay or leave, there's always going to be some form of judgment. Like the women are
And
always
trade
going to
off.
be
Yeah.
judged in that situation. I think also like again, like you mentioned, no one really talks about what it takes to come back from that betrayal, no matter the decision, right? And I do think I've noticed when you especially when you find out about celebrities being cheated on, everybody cares about what you do at that
Hmm.
moment. It's like if you decide to leave, good for you, girl. But they don't really care about the aftermath, right? Like, what does this person have to go through to put themselves back together? And
Hmm.
many times, especially for artists and creatives, it comes
Because you live in
back.
a public space. Yeah.
Yeah, it comes back in an art form, a great album. We have Lemonade, Shakira, Las Mujeres Ya No Lloran, Karol G.
Hmm.
All of these women have been in public situations, public scandals regarding affairs.
They've
Every
all
single one
been
of them.
publicly embarrassed by their men that they've
Yes.
dated.
And every single one of them has handled it differently.
Hmm.
Yes. But some of them have been critiqued. I think, Beyonce, obviously, we have that situation.
She
She's
also had
married,
a
she has kids.
similar. Yeah.
She has a business with this man, and a lot of people are like, why wouldn't you leave? You're bigger than him, right? Like, but at the same time, it's like we don't know their
She didn't
personal
want to
lives.
leave. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, we don't know what goes on behind doors. I'm like, there's a
There was a
lot
lot
of
at
things.
stake. Yeah.
And I'm like, we also, and I think I had heard when it comes back to Sebastian that when the whole cheating scandal happened with Becky,
Mhm.
that he was going to therapy for that. And a lot of people were like shitting on it. They're like, why are you going to go to therapy for cheating? So it's like, you're kind of damned if you do. You're kind of like, oh, he's not
Assuming.
doing anything to better himself. But it's like, clearly there's a reason why he's out here chronically cheating on her or whatever the word is.
It's a pattern
And
that he can't
yeah,
outrun
and it's a
either.
pattern that he also needs to break, right? So Becky
Yeah.
G is out here doing the work for herself to heal herself and see if this is something that she can either
Repair and
detach from or repair the relationship, right?
yeah.
She called it conscious uncoupling or whatever. And it's like we both decided to part ways. We still didn't know exactly, like, we didn't want to make it official, like, we're done. There's nothing to save this relationship.
Hmm.
But they both did allegedly,
Some
put the
distance and
effort to do therapy on their own and figure out why they made certain decisions that they've made. I do think that when it comes to Becky G, I I'm glad that she brought up the whole aspect of her being a caregiver and being a people pleaser from for so long, because
yeah.
I some could say, when you're analyzing what she's saying and the fact that she stayed in this relationship and she decided that she didn't want to move on, for instance, because I know she's like, I don't want to be, or she's like, I could be this Barbie and be with all the cute guys in the industry that you guys pair me up with, but I'm not going
Right.
to do that. And
Hmm.
in her way, I think that's a way of her kind of having some sense of control. I think,
Yeah.
growing up in the situation that she did, having to deal with the fact that her dad was also having an affair from a very young age and also having to be a caregiver from a very young age to her family, she's had to put a lot of responsibility on herself, and there's a lot of things that were out of her control. So I could see how her staying this in this relationship and working on herself and also keeping Sebastian accountable, as I will believe that she did, right? Some people will say no, like there was no accountability on his end, but we don't know that. So
Yeah. It's
I
like
choose
we
to
don't
believe
know
there
that
was.
for sure.
Yeah. So I think in her staying is like her way of kind of taking the reins in her life. She's like,
Mhm.
I made this decision. I made this choice, which she said, she's like, I don't make decisions lightly. Like I really overthink every single aspect, which I get. As an older sister, that's how I am too. So when she said that, I'm like, I get that. Like I think of every possibility before I make a decision, versus my siblings who are very much like, I'm just going to do it and think about it later, which fucking pisses me off all the time, because I'm like,
I've
can
been
you
a
guys think
witness.
about it a little bit and then maybe make a decision? So when she said that, I was like, yeah, I mean, I get what she's saying and I believe her when she's like, I don't make any decision lightly.
Mhm.
And I think her, deciding to stay in this relationship is her kind of shutting out the public, really, who kind of does want to control, again, the parasocial relationships that people think they have with celebrities because, they like their art or whatever,
Mhm.
makes them feel like they have some sense of, you know, say in what this person does in their
It's
private
like
life.
this is my friend. This is my cousin.
This
I
is
mean,
my, yeah.
yeah, like this is my Latina cousin who lives in Inglewood. Are you kidding me? No, just kidding. But yeah, I get the whole parasocial aspect. I mean, I feel like as I've gotten to know her through the documentary, through some of the interviews she's done, I was like, oh, I can see how people would relate to her, right? Because
Mhm.
again, she's like a first gen Latina. She's navigated this whole realm of being like not from here, not from there, and has dealt with what it is like to be a woman in the industry, or just like what it is to be a woman in general, but like then to be a woman of color in some of these spaces and navigating that. And then growing up Latina in Southern California, there's a lot of like, things that I can see people relating to, and even maybe some of the stuff that she went through with like her family relationship dynamics.
Mhm.
And I feel like maybe that's why people are even more pressed on it, the history of her parents and her father also being unfaithful to her mom, and how she was first exposed to that, how she dealt with that, and how she even saw the betrayal through her mother's eyes, and even
Mhm.
how her mom handled that betrayal, right? And so
Mhm.
you wonder if it's just like, is her sort of choosing to go back and like work on the relationship in a way also like what she wish her mom would have done with her dad at the time. But I don't know too much about. I think in the documentary she does go into about how like the mom did put her boundary down, because whereas her grandmother was kind of just like, no, like you need to fight for your relationship, her mom was like, no, I'm
Mhm.
out because this isn't a person that I want to
Mhm.
align myself with anymore. Like at the end of the day, it's like I had to put the kids first, especially if this person was involved in shady activity with like substance use and everything.
Yeah.
And I think that when you look at her being so young and having to take on the responsibility of like caring for her family as an elder child, and like providing for her family financially and in all the other ways that she has, her taking on the responsibility. Some people are like, she's the one that was cheated on, and she's the one that took on the responsibility of like, oh, let me do the work to like fix this, right? Let me get the therapy, let
Mhm.
me do this journey, let me do all of this. And people are like, what did he do? But you're right, we don't know what he did because he's a more private person, she's more in the public space. So that's why we know a little bit more about what she does, what she's done, and what she's opened up about. So it is also like, I do wonder and I do hope that he's also done the work and to be better in this relationship
Yeah.
and to meet her where she is right now as a person and all
Yeah.
that.
Well, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, also around the time maybe some of this stuff was happening, I think his sister passed away. I think that that was like a thing, a big event that happened in his life too. And this is not to excuse any situation, but I could see from Becky's perspective, and we've talked about cheating before, and I'm like, I do think that if I was in a relationship with somebody that I don't know what I would do, to be quite honest. I don't know if my bottom would be fuck you and let's go. I've always kind of gone back and forth on that
Yeah, I
because I'm like,
know.
I don't know if that would be my bottom. But I think knowing Becky's history, I think you could say that her betrayal, her first betrayal was her dad, right?
Yeah.
That was like the biggest betrayal that she probably had in her life. And with the whole substance abuse, because betrayal can look differently for everybody, right? It's not just cheating. It could be so many things. It could be emotional cheating, right? It could be,
Mm-hmm.
again, substance abuse. So having that nugget of knowledge about her, I can understand why her bottom is not cheating, right? Because there's
Mm-hmm.
so much that she's gone through in life
Yeah.
that is
And that's
way
what
more intense than that,
and
right?
that's what she literally says in the interview. She's like, good for you that that's
Yeah.
your that's your rock bottom, and that's what you'll I wish that was me, but I've seen some shit, and unfortunately
Yeah.
that's not my rock bottom. So that's why it's kind of like, okay, and that's where also like people need to like freaking get a grip, where it's just like, that's her life, it's her choice, like you can have an opinion on it, but like at the end of the day it's like, you need to mind your own business. Not kidding. It does suck though, because like I said, like I do think she's better than that, in the sense of like that I would much rather her like move on from that relationship and continue to pour into herself. She's so successful, and she's poured so much into her career, like arguably some of that space that she took from being with him when she like took off her ring and all that stuff, like her career flourished during that time, you know? So it's like, continue doing that and like let the world, you know, and yeah, let the world bless you and forget that guy. But, you know, she likes the guys. And who am I to say not to be with him other than
Mhm.
he's not shit? Don't be with him. But I don't even know her like that, you know? Now, if she was my sister, if she was my friend, if she was my prima, I would tell her that. But at the end of the
Yeah.
day, like I have come to terms with the fact that like you could only
You can
encourage
only
people
control
or
what you
no, like I have
yourself.
no control over what other people
Yeah.
are going to say. Like I can tell you, I can encourage you, I can give you advice or whatever, but at the end of the day, you're going to do whatever the fuck you want. And I have made peace with that. Like it is what it is. It's your life, not mine.
A part of me is kind of happy that she did do the work to see, because okay, her doing the work doesn't necessarily mean that she was going to stay with the man. And I know a lot of people
Right.
were like,
Yeah.
why is she doing the work? Why she knew she was
Everyone
going to
should
stay
do
with
the
that
work.
man. Yeah, you should
Yeah.
always. I think it's crazy too that some people are like, I just left him, like fuck him, but they never really go back and figure out like how they feel about the situation about being cheated on. They kind of
Hmm.
just bury it deep and maybe jump into another relationship or
Hmm.
stop dating altogether, right? And don't do the work ever. And then they have trust issues overall. So either way, it's not healthy. Yes, you can walk away, but are you even doing the work? Are you going to therapy? Are you trying to figure out how you can heal from this betrayal and still look positive, or still look at love the same way, right? Because in some way,
Yeah.
it's also going to change your perspective on certain things
Scarring.
if you don't work
Yeah.
on that situation.
Well,
So,
this is why people that go through shitty relationships end up with the mentality of like, oh, I'm just not meant to be in a relationship, or like, I am
mhm,
not meant for love, or like, I'm just going to be forever alone or forever single. But that's just like, no, that's a very narrow sided way of thinking of
mhm,
things because, yes, this relationship didn't work out for whatever reason. Like, yeah, you and that person were not compatible for a number of different ways, but it's like, it doesn't mean that you should just give up on love and you should stop working on yourself and
mhm.
kind of like figuring out what you want and what you don't want in a relationship, you know. Yeah, I
Yeah.
do think that this idea that she shouldn't be working on herself because she was the victim. No, like even as a victim, you go through some shit. We were talking about how like you betray that betrayal really like hits you hard in the sense where you don't trust yourself, and losing your sense of trust is harsh. It's huge. I mean, I feel like our whole lives we're looking to build up our trust in ourselves, to know who we are, to know what we want, and to like live in that truth. And losing sight of that, like that is jarring, or like that I can imagine that being jarring and stuff. So
Well, yeah, I mean, there's always going to be some form of trauma. I know people are like, well, it's just a
yeah, and you have
relationship.
to
But
work through that. Yeah.
again, this is a betrayal from someone that she didn't think would ever be capable of betraying her.
Hmm.
So there is some trauma that she needs to work through.
And I'm
Even if she
sure.
didn't end up back with this person, maybe after going through all of that healing, and she would be, you know what? I appreciate you for giving me the space to heal. And while I don't necessarily hold it against you anymore, I don't think that this relationship can go past this, or I don't think I could look past this anymore, or I don't
Yeah,
think I'm capable of that. Because that's something I've always
I
said.
want to
If you're going to
I want
stay
to
in a
forgive you,
relationship,
and I want to forget you.
if you're going to
Yeah.
stay in a relationship with someone who cheated on you, then you best let go or not hold the fact that they cheated over you, because
Yeah.
you are willingly staying in that relationship. So you are making a decision to look past that and
Yeah,
move past that.
you have to, and that's
Yeah.
tough to do. So that's why you do need to do the work. You do need to go through the motions to really see if, yes, I am capable of looking past that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why every single
I
time a friend
know.
comes to me about something that's going on with their relationship, I'm like, is this something you can look
You
past?
can look past because that's what it
And if
comes
you
down
can't,
to.
then you know your answer. You know what
Then
you
you're
need to do.
done. We're
Yeah.
done.
I don't need to tell you
Move on.
anything. Is this something and it doesn't have to be cheating. It has to be, whatever
Anything that's
action is
bothering
bugging
you.
you. Yeah. If
Yeah,
you can't look past it, you do not need to be in that
you're
situation.
done.
Sorry
Yeah.
about it. Bye.
No, it's true. Yeah. See, I know that I can't look past that because trust is huge in relationships for me. So it's like if I know I can't trust you, or like that is broken, goodbye and good riddance, and good luck, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if I was in a similar if I was with a boyfriend, sure, can easily walk away from that. They were engaged. that would be harder for me because you know, we're in a step in our relationship where we're gonna have the rest of our lives together, but also, you know, is
And
this a
he
sign?
tainted all of that.
Yeah, you
And this
take.
is where I'm projecting because it's like I'm putting myself in her. She was like, if it were me, I'd be like, you tainted all of that. How are we going to start our future with like this? Like,
Well, yeah, your
you
relationship
know?
is never going to be the same again. And that's,
Yeah,
I'm
like
glad she said that. It's like the relationship is
it's
not the
true.
same. But if you do put the work,
It could
heal
be
yourself,
better.
they do the
Yeah.
work to better themselves. And, you know, we come back and we decide, like, hey, we're going to give this another shot. And if the relationship is better for it, great. Happy for you. I'm glad that you can get past that and that you guys did
Mhm.
the work to build your relationship from the floor up because that's where it was. It was in the pit of hell.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
we came back from that.
It
So
was in the what is it? It was in the seventh circle of hell. Is that what they're called? Circle? What is
yeah.
Dante's Inferno? Is it's
It's the
circles,
circles,
right?
yeah.
It's a circle. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if I was married, I probably would view this a little bit more carefully and definitely really, really think about what my next move would be
Yeah, I know
because it
you've
is a big
always
decision. Yeah, I was
I
like,
think you've always mentioned that like
yeah,
it depends on whether you're like married or fiance vibes or just like dating or boyfriend and girlfriend. Yeah,
yeah.
and that's the nuance of it all, right? Yeah. It's also
I do think though that many reasons or a huge reason why a lot of people are shitting on her are is because you mentioned, you know, the way you've known her and her brand and the way
mhm.
she
Yes.
presents herself to the
Yeah.
public is like this boss bitch,
Chingona.
resilient,
Yeah.
chingona, Latina.
Hmm.
So when you have a situation where your partner cheats on you, I can understand why the people expect her to be like, fuck you, bye, don't talk to me again, get out of my life, I don't need
They
you.
expected her to pull a Carol and a Shakira,
First
and
of
she
all,
was like,
okay, I have a problem with that because Shakira, sure, but we don't know also the work that
"We
Shakira
don't
is doing
know."
to heal.
Yes,
And
yeah,
also, we don't know how many times Karol G stayed. We just know the
right.
last time that she was
Yeah,
like, "Enough." We don't know
yeah.
how many
I'm
times she
pretty sure
stayed.
this man played in her face so many
Yeah,
times because from what we've seen from the outside and from like the information that has been spilled or whatever, like that relationship was so toxic, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. So I think it's kind of
but we
impossible to
also
kind of
don't. But
compare
we also
people.
right, but that's what I'm saying. Like they're comparing them because they're like all in the industry and they've also all presented as being like, this brand of of like being a badass woman, whatever.
Hmm.
That's why I brought them up for comparison. That's why I was like, they were probably expecting for her to pull a Carol, to pull a Shakira,
Yeah,
Casu, with what happened with her and Cristian Nodal and La Angela and stuff.
yeah.
So they were expecting something more along those lines.
Yeah. And like she said, you know, that's not her bottom. Maybe if things don't work out this time around, she will be more prone to leaving and realizing
Yeah,
after she chose
hopefully.
the lesson, she's like,
Right.
hey, you know, you did it again. Clearly, this isn't working out. So now I need to step away. I've learned my lesson. You know, I've grown, I've healed certain parts of me that, you know, whatever this relationship taught me, it taught me. And now I'm going to take the blessing and move on. Right. Because I've learned what I needed to learn clearly. So,
Yeah, hopefully this isn't another lesson. Um, yeah, hopefully it's
yeah.
not.
And again, we don't know what's going on his end. I did read somewhere that he was going to therapy after the scandal broke. So I guess, you know, good for him for taking or making the
But
decision to go to therapy and figure
and
his shit
hope
out.
and hopefully he's, continued with it because I'm sure that
Yeah.
it's not like a one-time thing. Like it's a whole process, it's a whole journey, just like the journey that she described that she's been on since
Yeah.
all of this. So hopefully they're, doing right by each other in that way. I think when it comes kind of going back to what you were talking about, this brand that she's presented, who she is in her private life, or who she really is, like not Rebecca, not the Becky G, if you will. um,
Hmm.
I agree. I do think a lot of people's criticism stems from like, oh, like you give off this kind of energy and you're this, you're that, but then like you're not living up to that or that expectation, if you will. And I'm
Mhm.
just like, yeah, like you guys are so fucking perfect. You know, it's just like it's a bit harsh to do that, but like I get it because then it puts into question like, well, how genuine of a like person you are, you know, like are you real or are you
Yeah.
just faking the funk? But at the end of the day, every
People are
artist or people,
multifaceted. This is
that's
why
what I'm
artists
saying. Like
have
we don't put them
alter
in boxes.
egos.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
this
I was
is
gonna
why they
say. I
have
was just
alter
like,
this is why we have Benito and this is why we have Bad Bunny. This is why we have
exactly.
Beyonce and this is why we have Sasha Fierce.
Yes.
You know?
Well, that's what I was getting at. It's like, you guys, we've been known artists and celebrities our whole lives. We know that there's a certain fabrication when it comes to the brand that they're selling, right? And who they are,
Mhm.
whatever. And yes, it's very, I think, for I guess for the public it's very like we love when it feels like it's genuine and that's who they are because then you feel like you know them, right? And it plays into that whole parasocial dynamic or relationship. But it's
Yeah.
just like, come on, you guys, let's be real. Like we don't know how the fucking industry works, you know? And at the end of the day, like she's just a girl. She's trying to survive betrayal in her life. And give her some fucking grace is what I'm trying to say. Yeah,
Cuz
I
you
mean,
would want grace. You would want people to
exactly.
give
So
you
it's just like
grace.
as
Mhm.
if you've never been a hypocrite about something, as if you've never sat there and told your friend, don't fucking go back to that man, and you've been and gone back to hella men, trashier men, men that like literally don't fucking own a house or have any money. You know what I mean? Like so it's just like sit down. No,
Like
just kidding.
that's who you're crying over? It's kidding.
Yeah, no, seriously. That's what I was just like, that's what I was like, me thinks some of us do project a bit too much.
Yeah. And that's what I bring it
And
down
it's
to. But
And it's like we talked
projection.
and it's like we've talked about before too when we talk about like what is it like the perfect celebrity or like this when we
Mhm.
were talking about cancel culture and how we put these people in pedestals and God forbid they're human for one day and like life hits them and they don't handle a situation the way you thought they would because of this
Yeah.
image that you had of them, So yeah, it's just like let's be fucking real. I do, like I said, like I will say that I did sort of indulge myself in the ideas of like, oh, like why did she go back to him? And like she's kind of not, I don't want to say dumb, but I was just like, it's another lesson she's gonna learn, and also kind of at first being like, oh, she's really just like out here trying to justify what she did. And it's like, just own it, silly. Like I said, like you are exactly where you want to be. And that's okay. That's fine because that's your journey. But like as I listened to the and this was before, right, when I started seeing some of the takes that people were giving because people were
Mhm.
being very harsh about it. And then I
Yeah.
saw the interview fully through, and then I was kind of reflecting on when I saw her documentary and kind of just thinking like she's just a girl and she's just trying to figure it out and she's doing the best that she can and it seems like this is generally where she wants to be and she really is hopeful for the future with this guy and I just hope for the best for her and him,
Yeah.
well, for her sake,
Yeah.
but time will tell if it's going to be another lesson or if it is going to be her blessing.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've seen a lot of people come bring up like clips of them and how they interact and stuff, and people have been very
Yeah,
critical of that.
I saw some of those. I was like, let her have a fucking cupcake. I was
But I don't
scared.
think that I personally didn't
I
see
was thought
anything
the same
bad
thing.
with it. I'm like, there's again the nuance. We don't know. Maybe she was on a diet and maybe she was like, hey, like I really have like these goals and he's trying to help her. You know what I mean? Like
I don't know. It felt like he was the one that was just anal about it because it's just like it felt like he was the one that was anal about it, and it was more like, and I get it because he's an athlete, so I can see how
yeah.
he's a very disciplined
But
person.
so is
And don't
she.
and don't get me wrong, because like I deal with it. I butt heads with my boyfriend like this sometimes too, because I'm just like, oh, let's get this, and he's like, no, we're not supposed to be doing this, or vice versa. Sometimes when he's like, ooh, let's do this, and I was like, we said we weren't gonna do that anymore. But we've never been so harsh about it. I guess that's why like their
Do you think he
dynamic
was
is,
harsh about it though?
yeah. If I felt, and then
Oh,
maybe it's
okay.
me, maybe I'm projecting because clearly you had a different take on it, right? Because you're probably more disciplined than I am when it comes to those things. So that's I'm just like I did feel triggered. And I don't know if it was like a
Yeah.
projection thing, but I was just like, damn, that sucks. Because the idea of people ever policing food, it to me
Yeah.
is always just like, I hate that. I don't like that. Right. And
Mhm.
I definitely had to like watch myself too when I first had those kind of interactions with my boyfriend, like I said. But
Yeah.
um so that's where, but again, like you said, it was just a snippet. We don't know that that is their dynamic all the time. Maybe he was trying to save her from herself, but also I was just like, girl, buy the fucking cupcakes.
But she
You can.
was. You know what? And that's
And that's
I
what pissed me off, that he then still took him from her. Because I
yeah.
understand that he was like, no, no, no. But then she went back and she's like, no, I'm gonna get him because I motherfucking can. And he's like, no. And I was like, I
Yeah.
would have gone back for those cupcakes. I'll
No,
be
yeah,
like,
I get
you're
that
putting the
aspect.
stuff away in the car. I forgot something. I'm going to the restroom and I come back from the cupcakes.
I do
Send them
think though that I think it says a lot about how she sees the relationship. I could see
Mhm.
some people said like, "Oh, he thinks he's the prize," and she believes it. I could see that aspect, but
Hmm.
and this is where I used to be like, "Oh, he seems like a very cocky person," and I would have agreed with those people saying like he thinks he's the prize because of another snippet that I saw where he's like, "Oh yeah, I wasted all my good years on you." But I'm like looking back and I'm like, it just seems like that's the kind of banter they have. And then just seeing how she is as a person who was a caregiver and a people pleaser and had to do so much for her family, I could see her or him being her safe space. And that's why the betrayal was so impacted her so much because he
Yeah.
was her safe space. And basically, the way I see a lot of those, it's she's able to kind of let go and not have to think about these things. And he kind of steps up and is able to, hey,
Hmm.
we said we're like on these goals together, maybe fitness goals. We shouldn't do this. And like she knows that he is reliable in that aspect where he wouldn't let her cheat on her, whatever fitness goal she has, ironically. Um,
I'm just like I've okay again, and because I've seen the documentary and like I've seen some stuff on social media, I'm like, the way this girl works out,
yeah.
eat the fucking cupcake and then work it out. Like she was gonna work it out, is what I'm saying. That's I was like,
No,
this is,
yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
and I think that's what
Again,
people are like.
also
It's
the
not about
time I
the
think is important also because I think fitness in general has evolved so much where before it's like if you want to reach your fitness goals, you can't have sugar, you can't have this, you can't have that. Where now I feel we're very much in, balance. If you're working out 7 times a week and you're eating healthy 5, 6 times a week, one cupcake is not going to completely, you know,
derail. Yeah, she was giving
derail
them
your
mini
entire
cupcakes for
effort.
Christ's sake.
So,
Yeah.
but at least the clips that I've seen, I'm like, these seem very much in the era where the fitness aspect and the eating aspect were still very much you need to stay strict with your diet if you want
Yeah,
to
I
reach
don't
these
know.
goals. So that's why I'm like, I choose to give them grace. Like
I
their banter to me seems, I will always take it. You don't know what a person's relationship is like. There's certain times that I see people talk that are in relationships talk to each other. I'm like, I wouldn't want my person to talk to me like that. But I also understand that that's their humor. And if that's what works for them, that's cool.
mhm.
Good for you. I'm glad that you guys have that comfort where you guys don't get insulted when someone speaks to you a certain
You're
way.
like, yeah, that just
Yeah.
reminded me of this drama. But yeah, no, I actually felt like he was a little condescending in his
Mm-hmm.
delivery of some of that in that store scene. And that's why I was just like triggered, because it wasn't just about like put the cupcakes back, you can't get them. Because again, like I said, like I've had those situations with my boyfriend before. Or even like in like, like I think you and I when we used to live together, it was like, oh, should we do this? And I'm like, no, we said we're doing this. Or with my sister and stuff when we've been trying to like not eat chips or whatever. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like I've had those kinds of conversations and stuff, but it just, I don't know, it just didn't sit well with me. And again, I might be biased for it, but anyways, obviously that doesn't define it. And that was years ago. I think like she called out in the episode or in the interview who she was back then when she first met him is not who she is now as a woman, as a person, and as a
Yeah.
partner, and how she shows up in a relationship. And I'm sure he's not either. So obviously that also plays a role. And this is also why they're not going to have the same relationship that they used to have. And
Yeah.
hopefully she's been able to parlay certain things where things that maybe she would have tolerated before or been more like people pleasing about is not so much in the new time. And for him too, hopefully he shows up better than he showed up before for her.
Yeah. And I think also, I'm sure this is not the first time she's gotten cheated on. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
she,
that's
yeah,
why,
no, and it seemed like
yeah.
that's what she was saying in the episode, that like she's had multiple relationships where she's been betrayed. Now, what that betrayal was, we don't know, because we talked about how
Mhm.
betrayal could look differently, but
Different.
the
Yeah.
betrayal being there. So she did
Yeah.
mention that she's gone through a lot of relationships where she's dealt with betrayal.
Yeah.
So like you
And then
said, it's not her
clearly,
first time.
yeah. And then, but clearly, this is the first time that she's actually made the effort to heal. So it's not just the betrayal that he did. This was kind of just the
Breaking point?
no. Well, yeah, I guess this was her breaking point, or just this betrayal was just toppled everything for
Mhm.
her because before, like we said, she could have been betrayed multiple times, but she never did anything to look within herself or heal whatever trauma those betrayals cause. So when this happened, this was the pinnacle of everything. Like this was the
Mhm.
ultimate betrayal of all the betrayals because this was her first love. This is again someone she considered a safe space. So all of those seems like
Mhm.
nothing compared to this one, but she still had to do the work for all of those in the past as well, right? Because then it's like, how did we get here? How did I not
Right.
see the pattern from all of those? And now we're here by this person that I trusted the most, right?
That, or maybe it was also like, if well, I mean, she did say, I guess she kind of did acknowledge it when she replied and said, "Oh, like he's coming home to me." Obviously, it wasn't the first time this man stepped out on their relationship,
As far as we know,
but
we
she
don't even know if
finally
that's true. Yeah, allegedly, right?
but she could have finally put it like her foot down on like, I'm no longer going to tolerate this dynamic. Something's got to give, something's got to change, and
Mhm.
that's where like they did their whole like separation or what is it, conscious uncoupling, whatever it was.
Mhm.
And like, she wanted to do the work to kind of like, okay, like this isn't the dynamic I want for our relationship anymore. I still very much care for you. If you're open to it, kind of like we'll start anew or whatever, but we have to put in the work and kind of see where that leads us and be on that journey. But yeah.
And you know why I don't blame her either? Because the way that people are reacting to the fact that Karol G said that she broke up with Fade is crazy to me. Because damned if you
I
do,
haven't
damned if you
really
don't.
I
Because
haven't really tapped into that. I'm gonna be real.
people are mad that Karol G said that she broke up with Fade, and people are like, "Why would you leave him? Like, why would you break up with him? Like, this was your person." And it's like you guys don't
To
know what's going on
you.
exactly. It's
People
like you guys
literally.
have no idea what's going on in the relationship. If she felt
Yeah.
that this isn't her person, but he's a great guy, great. He's going to be a great guy for someone else. Clearly, it wasn't for her. And
Fate is gonna
she
be
did the
okay, you
mature
guys.
thing and broke up with him instead of cheating on his ass because she
Yeah.
wasn't happy. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you guys would have been mad if she would have stayed and been unhappy. Well, why didn't you leave earlier?
Or that what if she like cheated on him and then she would have been like
Exactly.
scorned for that. Yeah. I hadn't really tapped into it. I had heard rumblings because I feel like there's been rumors about that for a while.
Hmm.
Honestly, haven't really been tapped into Carol G in recent months,
I
so I
just saw
wasn't
it.
really
It
sure
just
what
came
was going
across my
on.
desk today, and I was like, "See, this is what we're talking about. You guys think that you guys just can control
But because
everybody's lives that you
and
don't
again
know."
and again because people were sort of just like idealizing or idolizing their relationship, and not
Mhm.
necessarily their relationship as a whole, but just like their ideas of what their relationship was, because they saw Fate as like, oh, he's the one that put her back together after her heartbreak. No, Carol G fucking did that. She
Mhm.
did her work too, her inner working, to heal from whatever bullshit she was with
I
Anuel.
know her
And
song says otherwise, but she was
yeah,
in love.
and
A girl can
and
be in love.
and yes, of course Fade was there too, and he was part of that healing journey for her, and amazing that he was able to do that and that he was part of that chapter of her life. But like, if she didn't want to be with him anymore, she doesn't have to stay with him. She doesn't owe him anything at the end of the day. They were two consenting adults partaking in this relationship on
Relationship.
this journey of life. So it's just like,
You
if
know, it's funny
okay, how
that
are people supposed to break up then? What are we supposed to
I guess
does
you
it have
don't. Yeah. No, but you know what's funny is that people, when Becky G, she's like, they keep pairing me up with like these cute boys in the industry. And I know for some time, a lot of people were shipping her and Raul Alejandro. But I was
Mhm.
like,
He
didn't
ain't
this
shit
man
either.
cheat? Didn't this
Yeah,
man cheat on his
I
girlfriend,
was
on
gonna say, I was
Rosalia?
like, all the people that they were shipping with, they
Allegedly.
ain't shit. No, I'm just kidding. No, but
So
here's the
it's
thing, like,
like,
she doesn't need a man to fix her. And I know that sounds a little crazy because she's with the man right now and she went back to the man that broke her in the first place. Like at the end of it, like this idea of society wanting to like the same thing with Carol G, like, oh, like how dare you do that to Fade? Like he fixed you, like he came and like healed your broken heart and all these things. And it's just like men don't have to fix them. Yeah, they're part of the journey, but like, come on now. Like this whole idea that I'm like, oh, you just need to be with someone new and that's how you're gonna get fixed, or that's how like you what did people say? Like, oh, the
you
best way
just
to get
need to get under someone to
yeah,
get over someone.
the best way to get over someone is to
And
get
this is how
under
we know you
someone.
guys aren't doing the work.
Yeah. So y'all need Jesus and y'all need therapy too. So but it's okay because I do too, and I am
Yeah,
very
we all
self-aware.
need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did we
But
learn?
yeah,
Just kidding.
I mean, I guess the next question would be, how does Becky G come back from this interview? Because I think people now are not taking her music seriously because she's not standing on business or walking what she's talking per se.
Like I
Like
said, she said what she said on that interview, and like I said, she wants to be there. She's exactly where she wants to be. And as an artist, obviously she's gonna, sometimes the music that you put out is kind of from older feelings, new, like, so it's just like
Taylor
that,
Swift
like
does
she
it
said,
all the
she felt,
time.
yeah, so she felt what she felt in those songs, right? They're emotions at the end of the day, right? But it's like
Mhm.
your emotions change. She's done a lot of work. So like
Yeah.
naturally where she was at in that space when she was hurt, and she, now that she's processed and she's healed, she's in a different space, and she's made her decision to work on things or whatever. And like, like maybe we're gonna get some music out of that. Who knows?
God forbid, I guess our branding is very much also aligning to that. Our podcast is called Bitch Up, and we
Mhm.
do give off very much independent, strong boss ass bitches. But God
Yeah.
forbid I have a little moment, a day where I don't want to be that. So I don't want people to hold me to this brand, just
Here's the
saying,
thing.
like,
I have always said it. Like I am an enigma. You're not gonna put me in a box.
period.
I'm always changing. I'm woman hear me roar.
I'm
And
ever
that's fine.
evolving.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm ever evolving.
And
And
that's
like
the beauty of life,
and
guys.
and that's part of girlhood,
Mhm.
and
That's
deal with
part of
it
life.
and deal with it, you know?
Yeah, that's part of life. Every person is not going to, and again, there's nuance to this situation.
Mhm,
Like saying that not everyone's going to be the same person they were 10 years ago. There's a lot of nuance.
mhm,
It really
mhm.
depends on what work they're doing to better themselves. So if they've
Yes.
been consistent and
Yeah,
shown
some
that
people
they're,
might be worse than who they were 10 years ago,
yep.
especially if they've continued to spiral down?
Yeah. So you gotta look into that. You guys have to decide what is it that you can handle as a person, what you're willing to handle. But
Mhm,
also, is this person doing the work? Are they consistent? Have they shown that there's growth? Are
mhm.
you guys
And that the
growing?
growth is consistent. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is too that it's just like at one point you could be like, yes, I want to work on things, and then as you're in part of the journey, you realize that actually no, I don't.
Yeah,
I
you're
don't
allowed
want
to
to do
change your
this.
mind. And that's
Yeah.
why I'm glad that she wasn't very definitive about the situation. I think that she was pretty ambiguous in some of the things because I think she's also aware, like, hey, this might not work out in the long run. Maybe I was wrong, maybe, or not wrong,
I
but
mean, she
maybe
seemed very
this wasn't
hopeful and
for me. Yeah.
optimistic.
Hopeful and optimistic, but not definitive. I know she was like, oh, I hope he proposes. But also, I do think there is this
She
sense
claimed
of,
him.
I am aware that things cannot work out. And I think she's okay with that
She's
aspect as
aware with
well
the
because
fact
she's
that
done
this
the
could
work.
be another lesson for her.
Yeah.
And that's all we could ask, that she's self-aware with that. And I just hope that she's not, as she's done so much work, as she's gone through all this journey of learning about her patterns and things and why she does things and just rationalizing things. I hope that it's not a coping mechanism to the point where she's not actually dealing with her emotions and what she's been through, because when you do that and you don't find the root of your pain and sort of work through that, your pain's still there whether you're conscious of it or not, and
Yeah. It
that
never
pain will
goes away.
manifest, and your pain's going to manifest itself in one way or another, and it can't be good long term, right? So
Yeah.
that's what I'm like, I'm hoping that that's the case, that she has worked through it. And
All
well,
right, everyone.
and
Becky
that's all I
G,
had
we
to
wish you the
say.
best.
Yeah,
Rebecca,
we wish
wish you the best.
we're rooting for you, girl, not
Yeah.
him. Fuck that guy. But we're rooting for you. And if it means being with him, then I guess so be it, because we're rooting for you.
Period.
And
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Let us know your thoughts. Would you take him
yeah.
back? Or are
Yeah, would
you
you
running
guys?
away as far as you can?
Absolutely. I'm like, you will never see me again. Goodbye. Good day.
And with that, see you guys on the next one.
Bye, guys. Remember to bitch up, be you, and don't take no shit from no man, okay? Bye.